course, there's no such thing as the greatest guitar player in the world, but there are guitar players who approach this standard. And the gentleman I'm going to focus on today is one of those guitar players. But more than that, he just did a great new record where it's about the compositions, it's about the music. And he saves his virtuosity for the right moments. And the rest of the time, you might even forget you're listening to a guitar player. You're just listening to music. First, I'm going to show you 4 of the songs on his new record and tell you why I like them so much. And then we'll look close up at his signature guitar. Now, of course, I'm talking about guitarist Andy Wood. When I interviewed Andy, he asked if he could give away some gear. So he and Suhr have generously offered to give away 3 of his Woodshed compressor pedals. Click the link below, join the contest, and win one of these pedals. In the meantime, let's check out Charisma. This is Andy Wood's brand new record. Okay, so this whole first part of the song is very stripped down. No drums, doubled acoustic guitars, really shiny and airy up here. Very stereo wide Hammond organ. The perfect platform for soulful guitar. He's varying things slightly, but he's still the vocalist. He's playing the melody, variations of the melody. Okay, now to the B section. Everything's going to start to come up. Here's a D major 7. Organ swells, but still holding it down. And it all comes up. Okay, so like a cocteau, right, for a vowel sound? But he's still the vocalist. Just bending it slightly. Variations. But it keeps me engaged, and it's still in service of the song and the melody, and you're waiting for the flashy stuff. It's just motoring along. Slow burn. Okay, this shows Andy's love of cars, but more importantly, his love of great musicians. Jim Riley on drums, Ben Eller on bass. Ben's a great guitar player, one of my favorite YouTubers also. Josh Schilling on keys, and this is Matt Menifee on banjo. And then a very clever special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Brent Mason. Doing what it does best. Yeah. Okay. This is Shoot the Sun Down. It's one of my favorite songs on the record. It's live at Sweetwater. It's doing it live in one take. Bridge pickup, step on a pedal. I love this melody. Feedback, because he's sitting right in front of the amp. Really cool altered scale melody. Here I'm taking it to 457. Check out this lick. But I love that he plays the song and then you have to wait for that. To me, that is showmanship. Okay, this is Master Gracey's Manor. Check this out. Really cool riff. I just want to hear it more and more. Okay, so for me to learn something like this, here's my trick. I take the gear wheel on YouTube and I turn it down to 3/4 speed, And then I can find a way in. Check this out. Okay, so that worked. Andy is also a great teacher, and I learned something very important from him years ago. If you want to play something fast, you have to practice it fast. What that means is, go ahead and learn it slow, get it right. There's a totally different pocket and feel when you're working on something slow. Master that. But when it comes to playing it fast, force yourself to play it fast. Let your capabilities catch up. Let the imperfections exist while you're trying to play it at speed, because the dynamics, the physics of movement when you're playing it fast are entirely different. So you have to push yourself and force yourself. This has worked for me. I found a minute of an interview where Andy explains this perfectly. Let's check that out. And then we'll do a deep dive, close-ups, and specs on the Andy Wood signature guitar.
Right?
Yeah.
Most people will probably practice that. Now watch my hand. Now if I play that fast, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So even though I'm starting with a downstroke and following with an upstroke and repeating as necessary, that's not the same feeling in my hand. So if I practice it slow, you're going to get to a certain BPM and be like, I can't do it any faster. Well, that's because you're practicing the wrong thing. You're not practicing it where it needs to be. It needs to be like a buffing wheel that's just flying. And you need to be able to polish it at tempo because that mechanic is different, right? Like, that's a completely
Totally different thing.
Totally different mechanic than, look at the swing. It's like, I'm like, using all of this motion and like time, literally time, to keep time of the groove. Well, at tempo, when that's, but like it feels different. Learn it.
Yeah.
Then play it where it needs to be. If the tempo to one of those tunes is cooking like that, back it down, but don't back it down by much.
This Suhr Andy Wood Modern T is finished in whiskey barrel. The way this is achieved is with a blowtorch. So not only does it make the grain pop visually, you can feel it. It's pretty satisfying. The body is swamp ash, and there's very little finish on this wood, which gives it a great tone. 2-post trem bridge, anodized pickguard, woodbucker pickups, and this 5-way switch and coil splitter give you lots of fat and skinny tones. One of the most unique things about this Telly is that it has 24 jumbo frets. This is a roasted maple neck. We have locking Suhr tuners, and then, of course, Andy's signature on the back. So before we talk to Andy, a quick reminder, the link to enter the contest and win this pedal is in the description below this video. Also in the description are all of Andy Wood's links, including his website and a link on Suhr's website where they show you all the virtues of this pedal. Finally, if you are a guitar student at any level, you'll find our link to 30 free guitar lessons. Okay, here's a lick with the Woodshed Comp turned off. Okay, the same lick with it turned on, and I am using it to boost the gain just a little bit. And one cool thing that I like is it has something called a charge pump inside it. So it brings it up to 24 volts. And I can really hear it. That's a lot of headroom. When I interviewed Andy, we talked about how it's great to see a guitar player shred on Instagram or TikTok for 60 seconds. But what we really love, what we actually listen to, is always a great song.
Yeah, it's being all dressed up with nowhere to go. You've got all this horsepower, and you've got all these things that you can do. Tell me a story. You know, Travis Toy, one of my best friends, he's the steel player. First time we hung out, Travis was with me. Great steel player, session guy in Nashville, road guy. He always says this in cap locks when we'll send stuff to each other. He'll be like, play me a song, and all like with exclamation points. He's like, okay, I get it. You're great. Play me a song. And we look across the spectrum of greatness. And if you just eliminate everything and we distill it down to just the genre of instrumental electric rock, rock guitar. That's a very specific genre. But even within that, the greatest moments revolve around a perfectly written song.
So here Andy talks about how song 1 on the record, Shoot Down the Sun, is a slow burn. And then song 2, he gives you exactly what you might expect, including a visit from a spectacular guest guitar player.
The first thing that the listener hears on this record will not be a guitar. And that was with intent. That was by design. I was like, this is an album that's meant to be enjoyed. This was also a vehicle for playing live shows. Like, here's another thing that ties into the current flow of Instagram or internet guitar culture is like, have you ever thought about what you're going to do when you have to stand up and play your music? Like, what's your show? Like, how does your... So that was by design. Shoot the Sun Down comes out with, bah, boom, just like big cannon snare hits. And also, there was going to be no virtuosity in the first however many measures of the album. And I was like, whatever starts the record, it's got to be... So I was like, man, 1s and 5s, no 3rds, no nothing, as simple as you could get it. Very much, Shoot the Sun Down is very much inspired by Jeff Beck. It was like, man, that guy he could slowly reach out, take your hand and be like, you're going to join me and we'll get there. We're going to do the thing that you want to hear or see, but it's not going to be yet. Just hang tight. And so that was the point of Shoot the Sun Down. It started with 1s and 5s with just that heartbeat kind of pumping thing. And then the first thing that the listener hears that has any inclination that there might be something deeper is that major scale, like flat 6 thing, which is very much a John Williams, Hans Zimmer kind of move by design to start the record like that. And that song is just like a slow ramp the whole time.
Now here, Andy talks about something that I really appreciate. He talks about how having a voice on the guitar has nothing to do with chops. And that makes the door wide open for you and me.
It took me going out and playing a lot of shows. I don't know how many shows I've done as Andy Wood. I don't know how many shows I've done as a sideman, right? Like those are in the countless amounts now. But I noticed when I would go out and do my own thing, I started taking an inventory of the things that clicked with everybody, not just the things that clicked with some folks. And development, story. And I was blatantly stealing every piece of knowledge that I could get when I would be on an enormous stage in front of 15,000 people as a sideman. I would go, okay, what works? Why does this work with 15,000 people? It's going to work with 18 people. It's going to work with 180. It's going to work with 1,800 people, right? Those things that you can learn. And like you said, I guess going back to like we said earlier, Rooster made it on the record because we were doing a cruise, the Shiprocked cruise, and it's like one of these rock festivals on a boat. And I was doing the set list. I would have a couple of tunes, and then I'd have something that everybody knew, then a couple of my tunes. And I was like, you wouldn't go too many songs without having something to bring the room back together, right? Because Tim, we were going on these shows and it's like, man, Papa Roach is on the bill, or like Killswitch Engage. And like, these are big bands where people know all their songs. How am I going to survive at the opener to the opener slot playing instrumental guitar music? Like, how can I just not get bottles thrown at me? You know what I mean? So one cruise we did, one of the songs was Rooster. Another one was, we did an instrumental version of Everlong that kind of had like a Police, Copeland kind of reimagination to the drum part, and it was kind of muso fuso. But Rooster, we got to the chorus and the crowd was singing it louder than we were in the room and just freaking out. And I was like, okay, this is something special. Now we've stumbled upon something that transcends. And those kind of things have been so valuable to me. And the only way I learned those was going out and failing. Going out and playing a lot of shows, and at the end of the show, there'd be a line of a dozen guys wanting to talk about what pedal I used or whatever, and then the rest of the room's ready for the next act. And then I started slowly seeing that shift when we started trying to make it about the audience. And there was a thing that I kind of keep at the center of my heart right now. I guess it was probably 2020, 19 or 20. We were doing the Kennedy Wood Band stuff. And I remember reading an article with Derek Trucks, and he said, always remember that the stage is church. It's very reverent, and your band members, respect them, and most importantly, respect the audience. They're not there to clap for you. You're a host, and you're there to give them something. And if you can keep that at the center, and I was like, golly dang, man, yeah, that's it. And it really started hitting me on how someone like Carlos Santana can be an instrumental guitar player, but today he could headline Caesar's Palace if he wanted to, and he doesn't have the world's most unbelievable amount of chops. He just transcends whatever it is. He found his voice. I can hear, I'm going to sound cliche, I can hear 4 notes, be like, yep, that's Carlos. And he's able to provide a show. Now, it's the thing that I want to point out is it's not a gimmick or a shtick, because people can see through gimmicks and the fads go away. But when he's playing guitar, you believe it. Like, you just believe him. And he's been able to have this huge lifelong career. Jeff Beck, man, I got to see him like 2 months, 3 months before he died. And it was that same thing.
Hey guys, a lot of the time YouTube will bring you my videos even though you're not subscribed. If you get the chance, click the subscribe button and ring the bell.